Hey everybody, Peek out here in Singapore. I wanted to jump on live because I am doing a series with a group of entrepreneurs one by one where I'm getting to showcase them, and I want them to dig in a little bit deeper into their their stories, how they came to be entrepreneurs, what they had to go through, the kinds of twists and turns that they took in their own paths, um, and I want them to be able to explain all of those things to you because each path is different, but they had to make sacrifices along the way. They had to learn on the run, and I'm hoping that as you see these stories, you get inspired and you find a way to chase after your own dreams as well. So I'm actually inviting my cousin, Jen and Anna. He's in New York at the moment, just waiting for him to jump on. Hi, Mayuran. Hi, Govan. How are you? And he actually splits his time between, hey Shante, between New York and Sri Lanka as well. So I'm actually really excited that he gets to be on here because I had the chance finally after. Hey, I'm so sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties. Hey, Zanetta, how are you? So basically what I'm doing is I'm introducing my cousin. He's going to be the first of a series of interviews that I'm doing. And y'all have seen me do interviews before. And mostly what I'm trying to do is making sure that you have everything that you would need, all the inspiration that you could ask for, because everyone's path is different. So I see Jen and Anna here at the moment. Let me see if I can pull him on. So I just invited you. You just have to accept on your end. Let me know if there's any problems. See you. Hi.
See you. Hi. Hi.
You're
Fine, fine. How are you, Gopika? Nice
I'm
to
good.
join you.
I'm good. So this is my cousin. Jen and Anna.
Jen and Anna.
I'm wondering.
Linga Andapakatala, I think you have this on speaker. I'm hearing like
an echo.
An echo.
Okay.
I'm clear. Let me find a headset. Okay. No? Give me one.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all. Let me quickly search. I don't know whether.
So as I was saying earlier, this is one of my favorite cousins, and he's one of the ones that we always look up to because he was the cool cousin that lived in New York, right? And it wasn't until recently that I had a chance to really spend some time with him and get to know him a little bit better. And the stories he told, I'm serious. He has a lot of stories, a lot of work that he's been involved with. Built companies, extended himself across the world pretty much because our family is spread out across the world.
So thank you, Gopika. Only issue I have is I can't find everybody. All my kids have taken the headset, so I don't have one. So if it's still a big echo, should I close the windows?
No. The echo is actually because I think it's on speaker. But no worries. We'll try and work through it anyway.
If I kind of take you off the speaker, then will you hear me? I mean,
we can try it.
We can try it and see. Okay, wait. How do I do that? I don't get a button here to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think I can.
We'll just keep going. It's no problem.
All right.
Yeah. So what I wanted them to actually know, Anna, is the progression of how you became a business owner and the different things that you had to experience. So I know you went to school first like everybody did. It was the custom, right? But from there, what did you study? How did you get into business?
Just to give you a little bit background, my father was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur and he had quite a different type of business. He was into aluminum manufacturing. He had a private hospital. He had a textile factory. He had a newspaper company and a transportation company. So and also a farm. So when I grew up, I kind of visited and I always admired the new things he did. But my main focus was I wanted to do farming or be a planter. So when I grew up, I wanted to study agriculture. So I went in and did agriculture, came back, started working. But during that period, I also worked with my dad because every time I needed some extra cash, I always go to him and say, "Can you give me a job?" And he will always put me at the bottommost job.
But
Okay,
that's
he
good. You
was
got to
very
learn from the ground up.
learn from the ground up. Absolutely, like I mean, it is sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing. You think that you are boss son. When we were young, I still remember he had a bus from Colombo to Jaffna to Colombo, and I asked him, "Hey, can you help me with that?" I thought I'll have a little office, sit there, and people will come and buy tickets. Only thing I knew was I had a little assistant, and I had to go to the bus stand and be there and call people Colombo, 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 and gather people and put them in the bus. Okay. So that was a very interesting experience, like, suddenly going down and standing there and collecting
Right.
passengers. Right. But I did a lot of different things. And then I was very lucky during the wartime when the whole trouble started. Everybody was trying to escape. It was not possible to live in Jaffna. Yeah. And my dad, during that time, lost all the business. Within a month, we have to move away. So everything was shut down. And I was lucky because I got a scholarship to go to Norway to do my master's. And so that was a big, it was a big surprise for me.
So you were grown by the time the war hit. So you saw what it was like before. You experienced everything with the war itself.
Exactly. Like, a lot of killings I witnessed because there were a lot of, kangaroo courts, or there were no police. Yeah. There were like a lot of different groups controlling Jaffna that time. And there was a lot of robberies because no police. So the punishment was if they catch a person, they kill them. And it will be an example. So it is very sad, like, to see that were, and so many other bomb blasts, this, that, like, military helicopters searching. So it was kind of like, and then we lose electricity a lot of time. So I worked with some Norwegians. We were doing a research project in Jaffna on, related to organic farming. So the final stage was we saw a man being shot in front of Jaffna University, just right in front of me and my colleague. And that was the end of their project. They couldn't take
packed
it.
Up and left.
Packed up and left. Yeah, packed up and left. And then they called me to Norway on a scholarship to do my postgraduate study. So that was very good. I went there. I started working. I completed my studies. And then I was very lucky to get into one of the NORAD project, Norwegian Agency for International Development. They had a project in Israel and in West Bank. They wanted somebody. So my best qualification for that job was because during '89 there was a huge intifada fighting going on, and nobody wanted to take that job. Everybody was scared, and my only qualification was I grew up in a war zone. I know how to handle situations. So I honestly got the job based on that. And I said, "You want somebody to go in and do the project? I know how to go in." And they looked at me and they said, "Okay, we'll give a shot." And so I went in. I spent 1.5 years there, kind of built what they were doing. They were doing an integrated farming project and building a soil lab for the first time in occupied territory. So it was a challenge, and did everything. They put everything together. We built it up. And by the end of the project, I also got beaten up there. Broke my tooth because it was war zone. You are in between, like, you get caught, you get shot at, like my friend got shot. So we have to run, escape, like, so many things were part of it. So I kind of, at the end, I knew if I stay beyond that, there'll be something more dangerous. It would be worse. Yeah. So I left and joined another project for them in Cairo, Egypt. Spent some time there and then came back and took a complete break. I wanted to traveled around England, then we came to Canada. Spent 1.5 years just being a bum, hanging around, and then decided that I'm glad you got a break, though, actually. Yeah, trying to get a break, and then at the same time, I was looking at so many ideas. What do I want to do? Like, do I want to Then I thought, okay, let me come to US and start studying again.
Okay.
And so I came, I enrolled myself in a university, did another master's in city planning, and started working as a researcher. Then completely changed my whole field because a friend of mine came and he looked at the work I was doing and he said, please drop this. If you have this knowledge, you can get into Wall Street and you can do much bigger things. So I looked at him and I was like, are you crazy? And so he convinced me. He convinced me so much. I quit my job. I went to his place, stayed there with him for 6 months. Every day when he goes to work, he'll give me a lecture. I'll record it. I had a book. I'll go to a public space, sit and read. Evening, I'll give him a lecture and he will correct me. And we did that. And I applied for a few interviews and I got a job. First job. The first day I was so nervous because I spent only half an hour in front of the computer. It was this all theory. I knew everything. Most of the time I was in the toilet calling him and asking him, am I doing everything right? Am I screwing up something? And managed to pull through. Then I joined JP Morgan from there. This company was called Wired Magazine. It was one of the top companies.
That is still right.
A major magazine. So when I was working with them when they started. Right. So we were the first ones who came out with cookies.
Websites.
On websites. Yeah, how to track.
Tracking
cookies. Yeah, so the reason was, the whole idea initially was based on your liking, we will throw ads.
Right.
So we have to track. So that was the whole thing which started. Went to JP Morgan, joined them. It was a big boost. That time there were not many brown skinned people there. When we joined, and the most funniest thing is every time I go to an Indian restaurant, they think that I'm a limo driver. They always ask me, where did you park your car? Because most of the guys, terrible. It was a joke among us because most of the Indians were limo drivers.
Cab drivers or limo drivers.
Limo drivers, especially on Wall Street. Wall Street, they get limos and all of them are Indian. So that was a funny experience. And so I worked there and then came out with an idea. If a person like me with no experience in this, and if I can learn this technology in 6 months and come up to, work at Wall Street, if we get really people with proper background, computer science background, and how do we, we train them and send them as consultants. So convinced my friend and we started with 3 people. We hired them from Sri Lanka and we kind of changed the model. That time everybody was going to India to hire and there were a lot of practices. Companies take away passport. They won't let you talk to others.
I think China's still doing that actually.
Yeah, it's a lot. So the way we were doing is we hire people. From the day we hire, we pay for everything. Even a little taxi ride we pay in Sri Lanka. We had a person. Everything was taken care. They were brought in, given nice apartment, and first initially
you took care of them
very well, and that was the key because what we wanted was we really wanted a good relationship with the workers, at the same time a trust. And we also wanted them to develop and become, much more than what they came for. They should be a skill level.
You were grooming them.
Of course. And we have to do everything. Take them to restaurants, show them what is US, here they are, arrange
culture shock, I'm sure, right?
Exactly. And because they were going to work in the top area, Wall Street banks. So we give them a package of deodorants, everything, from the beginning, they have to know every day how good they have to smell, and every detail was.
It's a different level of.
Yeah. So we grew the company from 3 people to 300 people within, I would say, about 2.5 years, 3 years, and then
on Wall Street, no less.
Yeah, and we went public. and that was a big achievement, like, and then I kind of, after about 5 years in that, and then I decided to sell my share and get out and do something different. So at that time, once you build a company, sometimes you think that you are so good and you can do anything.
Of course.
So the next, so yeah, so for my every success, four failures. So after that, I started another company. Boom, like then I tried another one, and then I realized, like, hey, that was something I was lucky. Now I have to think, like,
Yeah.
and really be smart and learn from failures. So, but we did quite a few interesting things. We built an energy device which could monitor your electricity usage at home, and give you the current electricity bill. You can see what your appliances, how much they use, how much do they cost in utility bills.
Right.
Then we did a large tsunami. After tsunami happened in Sri Lanka, we went
Okay.
in. We did introduced very like high-end what is that, prefab technology, and we used
Okay.
it for
To rebuild.
low cost. Yeah, and we built for low cost housing for all the fishermen, and we did about 325 homes in Vaticalo, and
Wow.
that was a very challenging project because one side was LTT and the other side was military, and the third side was the de facto, I mean, whoever escaped from LTT, and they formed another group, Karna group, and
Okay.
the opposite side was the sea. So we had to build 325 homes within this area. So we have to manage from there, take laborers, and it was a very challenging project. But we did, like, we partnered with SOS Kinderdorf, like a German organization.
Okay.
And did that project. Then we did few hospitals, things like that. And then after the war ended, I always wanted to go back and take over what my father left and
Had
was
built.
unable to go back. Yeah, and rebuild it. That was my dream, but I never thought it would happen. But I wanted to be very serious about this. Because of that, I didn't want to even change my citizenship. I
Okay.
always kept my Sri Lankan passport because I didn't want to lose my properties.
Right.
So
Of course.
when the war ended, I couldn't go for the first 2-3 years. There were landmines. They didn't clear. I mean, so finally they cleared everything, and then they let us go in. So I went and had a look at the farm. It was in a very pathetic situation. The whole area was like completely destroyed. We had around 2,500 coconut trees. Now I have 150 with bullet holes. Like something like 50 or 60 mango trees we had. We have like now about 7-8 with same thing, and cashew from 60 we have 5 trees.
Wow.
So, and it was a forest. We had a house there, we had a windmill, everything was bombed out. We had 17 irrigation pools, everything became bunkers, and and all bullet holes in that. So, and we found, I mean, initially we started bringing bulldozers and clearing,
Yes.
all the shrubs and everything. And the first day, I still remember, we set fire to it, and we were all like sitting, we have cleared this part. Suddenly bullets started, we heard bullet noise, there were live bullets in that, and they
Oh
started.
gosh, it was just laying around then?
Yeah, and we were just sitting out, so everybody had to run, jump into any hole they could, and lie down, because 25 of them went off, like
The
pop, pop,
bulldozer.
pop. Not the bulldozer, not when we set fire. Bulldozer was parked, and we were just
Oh,
watching
when you
the
set the
fire.
fire.
Yeah,
Okay.
to the dried all shrubs and everything. So afterwards, we learned that we can't do that. We have to be very careful. There are bullets in that. we came across few granites and I think one landmine we had to so once I went through this, and one of the things I wanted to do was replant, but at the same time I spoke to quite a lot of people, and one thing I realized is in the northern province after war, there is a lot of people are unemployed, and there is nobody going in and doing anything. I think government somehow pushed 3 textile companies to go in. That was a big thing because
Okay.
each textile company hires around 1,000 odd people. So
Right.
that was
So it boosts the economy a little bit.
economy a little bit for. Other than that, there is nothing. If you want to get into the garment industry, you have to have at least A levels or something along that line.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people who haven't passed A levels and they didn't have anything. Most of them are just day laborers. So I kind of did a survey, and then and the other thing is I had this dream of going back and doing something, a business there. So I have to really figure out what I want to do, because the information there was not you won't, not that great, but everybody pushed me, start something. But what to do? So finally, I looked at the coconut industry. Sri Lanka has a very well developed coconut industry. We were the largest exporter a few years ago. Now India, Vietnam, Philippines have joined, but Sri Lanka is always known for its high quality coconut, not only milk, coconut milk, water, the edible products. There are products which comes out of the shell and the husk, non-edible part of coconut, which are
So
which
the
has a
husk
lot of demand. Yeah, we make. There's something called cocoa peat. When we crush the husk, you get this dust, and it's a fantastic grow medium. Then the fiber is used for brushes, pillows, mattresses, sound insulation. The cocoa peat is also used as oil absorbent, and so many other benefits. So we kind of looked at it and decided, okay, let's get into the coconut industry and start from the outer part of the coconut before we go inside. No, so I have a very good friend of mine called, his name is John Tastad, and we have done the 20 years we know each other. We work together, and he was part of the Batikalo housing project, tsunami project. So I went to John and I kind of told him, hey, John, this is what I have. I have my land. I have cleaned it up. I want to do something along this line. What do you think? And what do you? So he looked at it, and then I also the other thing is the area my farm is in. Surrounding that area, there are about I would say within 20-mile radius or 15 or 20-mile radius, there are 35,000 war widows living there. There are about close to 10,000 landmine victims who are in that area. You have about another 25 to 30,000 children who are orphan and living among, a lot of orphanages. Spinal cord injury, bullet injury, the people you see are very sad, and everybody is looking for an opportunity. And so I was kind of going through this, and I said, I really want to start something and provide employment. Nobody is going in there. So how do we do? He said, man, this is very interesting. Let me talk to my friends. And then we kind of went back. Within a month, we decided, let's do it. So he was the biggest. To be honest with you, one thing is to have the infrastructure, have the idea, but you also need much bigger, from the financial side, experience-wise, and also John. I would say because of his effort, all this project is reality, because he brought in a lot of input into it, So. So we started, we got the funding, everything. His company, Strategic Capital, agreed to fund the whole project. And so we went in, and now it took us, it was a rough start initially because, coming out of the war, we were the first ones to go and really do a private US investment going into the northern province. and it was like, a large scale investment, about $1.5 million. So like, the paperwork, but it was the most interesting thing is we never bribed anybody until now.
Good.
Nobody even showed indicated that. Everybody was helpful, but the whole process, we are so used to living in developed part of the world, and we think like everything happens so fast. When you go to countries like Sri Lanka, 6 months building, which takes here, will take about 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
And you have to know. So initially, I didn't calculate. I thought I was going in, I'm going to do very fast because we have the funding, like,
Right.
money is not a problem, like, but still weather, number of holidays, the paperwork. So finally, I kind of learned it. Like, you just can't do things like that. You have to be patient. You have to understand the system. You have to work with the system. No point being like, aggressive when people get pissed off with you. So I adapted to it, and then I was able to kind of get things done much faster, because once you understand the system, you know how to talk and how to get the job done.
Right.
Right. So it took us about 2.5 to 3 years. We finished. We are one of the largest coconut fiber and cocoa peat producers in Sri Lanka. There are only 3 more guys, and we are the 4th. Capacity-wise, we are equivalent to everybody, and so people really appreciated mainly the government agent, the coconut cultivation board chairman. Everybody was so happy that, because the thing what they wanted was, unless you have a big factory and make use of the resources, like as a small industry, you're not going to make a big difference. So everybody, like, there are little small factories. So one of the things I also did is went and spoke to them, all of them, and I just didn't want them to think that we'll be a threat.
Right.
Yeah. So we wanted to work with them, and so that I went, introduced myself, and said, I'm this guy, and I just hello, and please don't feel that way. We can work together. The pie is so large, we can all eat together. Like, we don't have to compete, fight, like, and we had a meeting, and we addressed the issues like everybody has. And then the second thing was also like, availability of raw material. And we decided like, we won't undercut each other. We will help each other. If I know a price is this price, and if somebody is selling low, I will say, don't do that. The market price is this. So we kind of started helping, and we have a group. We meet like every 2 months, and if I have fiber and I can't find a buyer, I call my other company factory. My team, and say, hey, do you know a fiber buyer? And they say, yeah, I know. Like, they come and buy from me, like that kind of a arrangement. So,
and that's hard to find in countries like Sri Lanka, actually.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's true. People think that is why the first thing I did was I went and met everybody while we were building. Like, I said, we are not going to compete with you. Like, we'll help you. And that was, so now we have about 45 people who are directly working, and another 70 odd people who are indirectly working for us. That is like, they are our husk suppliers. So we have now the operation is getting bigger and bigger. So the thing what I am doing right now, I built it, put everything together. Now we have a team managing it, and we have one of my John's son. He just graduated, so he is now taking care of the operations. So now I'm spending a little bit more on product development. What are the types of
many uses of
cocoa peat, basically. Exactly. So we are looking at a lot of, from oil absorbent, from cat litter to seedling starters, and on the fiber side, we are talking to a company where they use this to make baby mattresses.
Oh, okay.
With
the firmness of the mattress.
The firmness of the mattress, is it? Yeah, for actually originally, like if you go back, in our parts of the world, the
Mm.
mattresses were made out of coconut fiber.
Okay. I didn't
Because
realize
it
that.
I didn't breathes, realize that. Yeah, it breathes very well,
Mm.
and this fiber is very strong. It doesn't decay. Like,
Okay.
that's why, like, old days they use coconut ropes to build boats. You can go in
Huh.
the water and it doesn't rot. It's a very strong fiber.
I didn't know
I
that.
mean,
Okay.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, so it's one of the, I mean, it was kind of the whole technology was developed in Sri Lanka, like all those regions. They used to go and bury husks in the sea, and
Mm.
for the wave action, it will soften, and then they bring it out and beat it.
Because it is quite
Because it
absorbent.
is quite absorbent.
For those of you who don't know,
For
you
those of you
actually
who don't
gave
know,
me
you
a
actually gave me a
something almost
something almost
akin
like
to steel
akin
wool, but
to
it's made out
steel
of
wool, but it's
coconut
made out of
fiber,
coconut
and
fiber,
it's very
and
absorbent,
it's very absorbent,
it's hard at
it's
first,
hard
but
at
once it
first,
soaks
but
up the
once it
water,
soaks up
it's
the water, it's
very soft on
very
like
soft
Teflon
on like
covered
Teflon covered
cooking utensils.
cooking utensils. Exactly.
So it was very,
So it
very
was
effective without
very effective
scratching
without
the surface or
scratching
anything.
the surface or anything. Absolutely, because now what is happening is, Gopika, like even a country like Japan has banned all toilet bowl brushes with plastic fiber.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Everything, everything
Yeah.
because now they are moving on, because everybody is getting out of plastic. The problem with plastic fiber in brushes is it goes into the septic tank, it goes into, like, underground, and it doesn't degrade.
No, it
So
doesn't.
they
It
are
takes
now,
a
it
lot
takes
longer.
a lot longer. Yeah. So now they are looking at many ways. Where are the main areas we can change it? So now these coconut brushes, like, shoe brushes, like, we are working with a company. They do shoe brush. They do kind of like, dishwashing brushes,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah. Like, all natural.
So I'm actually really
So I'm
excited
actually really
because
excited because
more than
you're
anything,
more than
everything we
anything,
spoke
everything
about
we
when you were
spoke
here,
about when you were
I
here,
feel like you were
I
able
feel
to
like
teach
you were
me
able to
that
teach me that
your kind of
your
resilience
kind of
is really
resilience
important.
is really important.
I know you started off
I
in
know you started off
agriculture.
in agriculture. You
Norway and Cairo and everything,
Cairo and
then
everything,
to
and then to
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
and the experience
and
of
the
building your own
experience of building
company
your own
and
company
trying
and
many different
trying
things.
many different things.
And regardless of the
And
fact
regardless
that
of the fact
Sri
that
Lanka was in
Sri
war
Lanka
when
was
you
in
left,
war when you
you
left,
still want to go
you
home.
still
You
want to go
still want to
home. You
build up.
still
You
want to
still
build
want to
up.
make sure
You still want to
Jaffna
make
is
sure
coming up
Jaffna is
somehow.
coming up somehow.
And I appreciate that
And I
because I
appreciate
know
that
a
because
lot of
I know a
kids
lot
in
of
my
kids
generation
in
are
my
upset about
generation are upset
the
about
war
the
itself.
war itself.
But a lot of them don't
But
want
a
to
lot of
claim
them
the
don't want to
country.
claim the
A
country.
lot of them
A
don't want
lot
to
of them
come
don't want to come in and
rebuild or give back.
give back.
They're just
They're
kind of
just
mad with
kind of
nothing to
mad
do
with
about it.
nothing to do about it.
But you're one of those
But
people
you're one
that
of
you
those
haven't
people
taken a
that you
political
haven't taken a
side.
political
You're looking
side.
at the
You're looking
humanity
at
of
the
it,
humanity of it,
and you're trying to build up
and you're
from
trying
there.
to build
Whatever
up
little
from
you
there.
can do, you're
Whatever
trying
little
to
you
do.
can do, you're
And
trying
that's
to do. And
important
that's
to me.
important to me. Thank you. I really appreciate that because, I mean, that is my whole, I mean, there is a saying, idle mind is devil's workshop. And when these people come out of the war, they have gone through terrible situation. And if you let them just sit like that, like, it's going to be more crazy. So I took it as a thing because we were lucky to get out during the war, and we had a good life. More than good life, I developed my knowledge in many fields, like, my experience. And when this thing all came to a stop and things cleared, and I thought this is my duty to go back and give what I have, like, not just only the putting money and building a business, but more like knowledge based, like, what else, like, so I have few friends who have come back like me, and we exchange ideas, like, sometimes the local businessmen, they come to my place and ask me, like, I mean, a lot of the times they have asked me, like, we are young guys, we want to get into business, what do you advise?
Right.
How do you want?
And that's part of what I want to do to be able to share.
Because
I know the idea is
you go to school,
you do university,
you do university,
you do extended studies,
and you get into
the corporate lifestyle.
corporate lifestyle.
But the way the
But the
economy is
way the
going
economy
now,
is going
it's
now,
not like you can
it's not like
say,
you can
I worked at
say,
the same
I
company
worked at
for
the same
50
company
years.
for 50 years.
It's not that there is
It's
a
not
pension
that there
plan
is
you
a
can
pension
retire
plan you
from
can
your
retire
job.
from your job.
Chances are you will need
Chances are
another
you will need
something
another something
supplementary even after you
supplementary
reach
even after you
retirement
reach
age to be able to
retirement
make
age
ends
to be
meet.
able to make ends meet.
So you
So
took your
you
education,
took your
but you also
education,
did
but
work
you
on the
also
side.
did work on the
You did a
side.
lot of
You
market
did a lot of
research.
market research.
You spoke to a
You
lot of people.
spoke to a
Your
lot of people.
networking
Your
skills were
networking
big to
skills
me.
were big to me.
You
Thank
kind of
you.
You
reaffirmed
kind
that
of reaffirmed
networking is
that
really,
networking is
really important.
really, really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will, even in Jaffna, like one of the things initially I did was I went to every department head, sat down with them, explained what, like, we like to do, and listened to them, and, like, said, you have any idea? Everybody was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, what can I do? How do I make it easy for you? Honestly, it was a beautiful experience because I did not up to now go to any politician.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah, I have avoided that because I don't need it. There
And
are,
you've
like,
proven
And
that
you've
government.
with your
proven that
networking
with your
skills.
networking
Just being
skills,
Yeah,
human
just
and
being
speaking to
human and
people like they're
speaking to
also
people like they're
human,
also human,
yeah,
reminding them that you're not
reminding
in it
them
to
that you're
take
not
from
in it to
them, but
take
to
from
add
them,
to
but to
what is
add
already
to
there.
what is already there.
That's big.
That's big.
absolutely. And the government officers were very helpful, like, and the other thing is, I didn't, a lot of people, they think that it is not safe, this, that they have all this fear. They want to be friendly with police, army, this and that. I just do my job. Like, I have to prove myself to everyone. You can do it. You can go in, do it in a very normal, simple way. Follow the law, the rules.
Yeah.
Like, register a company, go to this institution, they will give you all these things, go and do this. Yeah, paperwork will be a bit delayed. So, but
But
it's
it's
not going
better
to.
But
than
it's
the
better than
let me
the
go in,
let
talk
me
to a
go in,
politician,
talk to
get
a
a favor
politician,
for
get a
something,
favor
which
for
at that
something,
point they
which
will
at
call
that
it
point they
back
will
at
call
some
it
point.
back at some point.
Yeah.
But you
And
did it
yeah,
But you
a
did it
very simple,
a
like
very
you said,
simple,
very
like you
simply,
said, very
and that was
simply,
important.
and that was important.
exactly. Like, so only I think during my 3 years, twice I met the chief minister.
Okay.
And it was another meeting. We were just like some World Bank meeting. But some of the things when discussion came, I was trying to kind of tell them that what is important for a province like northern provinces, all the raw material we find in northern province
Mm.
should be made into value added products within the province. Only then
Yes,
you
to give back
provide,
Yes,
to
to
the
get
area.
back to the area.
yeah, and also you provide employment. If the
Yes.
raw material goes to any other part of Sri Lanka and there it gets turned into a value added product, employment is generated in that region, not in,
Right.
we are losing
Right.
that employment. So
It
I was,
affects the
It
economy very
affects the
badly.
economy very badly.
exactly, like, and with so much of unemployment we have in the north, we are the highest in Sri Lanka, unemployment wise. We are the number one in alcohol consumption wise. We are the number one in school failure wise currently. I mean, there are like, sadly, we were the lowest unemployment before the war, the highest school passing rate, like, and we were supplying majority of the, 30% of the GDP, North and East were contributing before the war. Now only 3% of the GDP. So unless we become an economical powerhouse, we will be always, no benefits will come to us because there is no importance from that side. We have to
Right.
build our
Right.
economic base in the northern province, and we have so many people, like, our diaspora, like, they are all around, and these guys are such successful people, like,
Yes.
honestly, I have a lot of respect for them. They have come out. Look at Canada, the number of successful businesses started and
That are Sri Lankan owned
continuing.
That are
businesses.
Sri Lankan owned businesses.
Big time. The Yellow Pages is about this thick, like about Sri Lankan business alone. So what it is like my dream also is to go in and do this and like, kind of be set a path for others, like, how to get in and do something in Jaffna. Like, I mean, what are the ways, the easiest way? Where do you go? Like, and I work with the local organization. Sometimes I kind of tell them, come on, we need to open a booth here. Like, one-stop shop. Like, you want to open a business. Yes. Like, we want to have, like, okay, look at agriculture. These are the opportunities. Fisheries, these are the opportunities. In, like, import, export, or food business, these are the opportunities. Like,
Right.
You have to, so that way you guide people. Like, instead of like everybody comes and they ask around, what can I do? And sadly, they'll say, why don't you open a shop? So in Jaffna, I think I looked at some statistics. There are like about more than 600 or 1,000 empty shops.
So people have tried.
So people have tried. They just haven't followed through, or they haven't done the research to figure out what would work.
They just built a shop in front of the house, like in a part of the house.
Okay.
And tried, then nobody comes. It's like, and then they close it. And so there are a lot of empty shops like that.
But that again, Anna,
I think that you being a trailblazer
to bring hope back to the area,
and
to be proud of where you're from,
and to be there working with the community,
providing jobs, making sure that the assets that you create in that area
stay in that area. I think that's really important.
I feel like it was an amazing story to hear that you were working with Anthony Bourdain when he came. But the fact that you got to take him around and showcase what Jaffna is like now, I think that was really important.
Too.
Thank you. It was a, very interesting experience I had with him, and very smart guy, very intelligent, smart person, and very down to earth. He was very knowledgeable. Like, he tried to come to Jaffna, I think, twice before.
Okay.
And they couldn't. And this was the first time they were able to come to Jaffna. And so he kind of knew everything.
Right. Because he's been researching for a while trying to get
So I spent almost 6 to 7 hours with him. And, we had to hang around, talk about everything from his travel to, like, his experience. And the most funniest thing is we were standing there and talking, and then there were a few dogs there, like walking on the street, hanging out on the street. So I looked at him and I said, Anthony, my dogs don't eat dog food. They eat curry. And he started laughing and said, you're joking. And I said, yeah, I tried dog food. They don't like dog food. They like curry. And he cracked up, and we were just having a side conversation. And before this Anthony Bourdain Sri Lankan episode came in, I was Googling, and then I see I'm standing next to Anthony, and I'm saying, my dogs don't eat dog food. That was the clip
they used.
Okay.
I was like, oh no, like,
No, I love it because you are bringing more attention to the area.
I think it's important for me to showcase more people like you.
That no matter what happened,
you came from a war zone. You lived through that. You built yourself up in several different countries. And
you've always persevered.
You did what you wanted to do. And when you were done doing that, you took a break and then you started something else.
So
if
you could
leave like 2 pieces of information for people who are maybe in university right now,
worried about whether they can get a corporate job, worried if they're studying the right thing, what would you tell them?
I think what I would tell them is sometimes when they are getting into the final year specialization and things like that, whatever field they are in, they should study the job market first.
Okay.
One thing I advise most of them, or always is because one thing is your passion, what you want to specialize on, and sometimes you also have to know, balance it, what is available in the market.
Yes.
That is very important. Like that's if I want to repeat, I would do it that way. Like, I would study a little bit of job market, what is needed, and then I will add a little specialization in my whatever I am doing to easily be absorbed. Because all of us, when we come out, we want to work.
Yes.
And we don't want to be in an area I can't find because there is no work for this, no work for that, and things like that. So that is one way to avoid that. The second thing is I'm an entrepreneur, and I always look for ideas and things to come out and solve problems. And I keep a very open mind. Everything I look at, I try to see, like, this little thing, can I improve it? Or what will I do? Or in a situation like, I do that with my kids also, like a game. Like, if they complain, I'll kind of throw like a simple example. I'll give you my youngest daughter, she was pushing her bike and the pedal was scratching her leg. And she kind of commented and said, well, by the time I grow up, I'll have a lot of marks on my leg. And then I just said, I looked at her and said, so are you going to be like that, or is there a solution for this? Like, can we do something like make a cover or something? We were debating, and she said, like, we have to do a pedal cover, which has to have some sponge in it. At the same time, it won't slip. Like, even if it gets the grip. So we were cycling and discussing, and then we were waiting on a traffic light, and I asked her, so what kind of a name do you think will be suitable? Because the name is very important. You can't. But then I thought I'm the smartest guy, so I was trying to come out with names like pedal cover, pedal this, and she looked at me and she just said, no, I want to call it pedal comfort. And I was like, wow, So just to give you an example, like, people, everybody, like, even a little kid is like very smart and intelligent. We have to tap into their potential and make them think. And when you bring that naturally, that process of thinking outside the box, thinking about problem solving comes in automatically. And that's one area I would like to emphasize. People have to keep a very open mind and see what they can do.
Well, thank you, Janarthanan.
I appreciate it so much. I'm really hoping that anyone who watches
understands that it's not easy, but it can be done.
But it can be done because you're showing everybody that it can be done.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you were telling them to focus on innovation.
Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. Fix what there is and keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to be on your podcast, and really enjoyed it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you so much, Anna. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.